just gonna do it anyway. And if I knows it, then I'll give you your money back. I will not give you your money back. I will give you a kiss. On the cheek. My husband.
You can insult a sound, but you can't erase a soul. Those were the first words Amiee Osbourne wrote, trembling hands hovering above her phone before the post went live. Within minutes, it exploded across every major rock forum and social feed on the internet, because this wasn't just another celebrity feud. This was blood speaking. This was Ozzy's daughter defending the man who defined heavy metal against one of the most controversial figures in rock history.
It doesn't matter.
But I think
Ozzy Osbourne, who just died, bless him.
Roger Waters. The moment Roger Waters' interview aired, it was like a match thrown into gasoline. The Pink Floyd co-founder, known for his polarizing opinions, had taken aim at a man the rock world considered untouchable, Ozzy Osbourne. Waters' tone was dismissive, cold, and sharp as a blade. He had questioned Ozzy's impact, called his music a spectacle more than substance, and suggested his legacy was overinflated by fans who mistake chaos for genius. For most artists, that kind of comment would sting. But for someone like Ozzy Osbourne, who spent 5 decades bleeding his soul into microphones, climbing out of darkness, and rewriting what rock could sound like, it was blasphemy. And though Ozzy himself wasn't here to clap back, Amiee was. The eldest daughter of the Prince of Darkness, Amiee has always been the quiet Osbourne. While Kelly and Jack lived their lives in front of cameras, Amiee chose privacy, silence, and distance from the family's chaotic fame. She rarely spoke publicly about her father's music, his controversies, or even his health. But this time, the silence broke. When Amie's post hit X, formerly Twitter, it felt like the calm, composed daughter of Ozzy Osbourne had turned into a storm. "How dare you speak about my father like that," she wrote. "He gave everything, his body, his voice, his sanity, to music and to his fans. He's not here to defend himself, but I am. So let me say this clearly. Fuck you, Roger Waters. No metaphors. No diplomacy. Just a daughter defending her father. Raw, unfiltered, and heartbreakingly real." The post went viral in minutes. Metal fans, rock historians, and even longtime Pink Floyd followers began to take sides. Some defended Waters' right to his opinion, but most, thousands then millions, echoed Amie's fury. Because for them, Ozzy wasn't just another rock star. He was a symbol of resilience. The weight of legacy. Amie's reaction wasn't born out of sudden rage. It came from years of watching her father fight, not just for fame, but for survival. Behind the stage lights and stadium roars, Amiee had seen the quieter version of Ozzy, the one who struggled to walk without pain after decades of touring, the one who battled Parkinson's with quiet dignity, the one who sat at home replaying old Sabbath tracks, smiling when fans called him immortal. For Amiee, those memories were sacred, and hearing someone like Roger Waters, another rock legend, trivialize her father's entire existence felt like betrayal coming from inside the temple. Because Roger wasn't an outsider. He was part of the same sacred era, the generation that built rock from sweat, soul, and rebellion. Amie's message wasn't just anger. It was grief. "My father spent his entire life being mocked and underestimated," she continued in a follow-up post. "And every single time he proved them wrong. He created something that connected people across generations, across pain. That's more than you'll ever understand. It wasn't just a defense, it was a declaration. For fans, it felt like a torch being passed from one generation to the next. A clash of titans when two worlds like this collide, the psychedelic grandeur of Pink Floyd and the dark pulse of Black Sabbath. The shockwaves aren't just musical. They're cultural." Roger Waters' comments came during an interview where he was asked about the evolution of heavy rock. His reply was sharp, dripping with condescension. "Ozzy was good at theater, but musically, it was noise. You can't build a legacy on screaming into microphones and pretending it's profound." That line, pretending, it's profound, and was the one that hit hardest, because anyone who had seen Ozzy in his prime knew there was nothing pretend about him. The man lived inside every note, every scream, every breakdown. His voice carried pain, madness, and poetry all at once. Amiee knew it. Sharon knew it. The fans knew it. And the internet erupted. Dozens of rock icons weighed in. Gene Simmons tweeted, "Disrespecting Ozzy is like disrespecting the roots of metal." You don't have to like him, but you respect the ground he built. Even former Floyd collaborator Nick Mason subtly distanced himself, saying, "We should celebrate each other's impact, not minimize it." But Amiee's post stayed pinned, untouched, unedited. As the world shared it millions of times, it was her first public message in years. And suddenly it was everywhere. The daughter who stayed in the shadows. Amiee's story itself added emotional gravity. For years, she'd stayed outside the Osbourne reality TV whirlwind. She didn't appear on the Osbournes show. She didn't chase fame, endorsements, or interviews. She was the invisible Osbourne, a ghost to the public, but always present behind the curtain. In interviews, Sharon and Kelly often mentioned her as the one who keeps us grounded. Ozzy himself once said, "Amiee's the calm in this storm. She's my quiet strength." And now, that calm had transformed into fire. Her words were poetic and brutal. "You can live your life judging others, or you can create something that survives you. My dad chose creation. You chose bitterness. History will remember the difference." Fans screenshotted that line, posting it everywhere. Within a day, it became a quote used in tribute art, fan edits, and even tattoo sketches. The daughter who had once shunned fame was now being hailed as the voice of every fan who had ever felt protective of Ozzy. The fans who grew up blasting Paranoid. The ones who found strength in Diary of a Madman. The ones who cried when No Escape From Now aired. Amiee wasn't just defending Ozzy. She was defending everything he represented, the fire that wouldn't. Roger Waters didn't respond immediately, perhaps realizing that the backlash had already grown far beyond what he expected. But in typical Waters fashion, a follow-up interview surfaced days later where he said, "People get emotional when truth hurts. It didn't help, because this wasn't about truth. It was about respect." Ozzy wasn't perfect. He was chaotic, reckless, human, but he was also the heart of an era. He was the man who screamed into the darkness and made millions feel less alone. Amiee's words turned into a rallying cry, clips from Ozzy's career, from his shaky early Sabbath days to his solo triumphs, began circulating online again. Streams of Crazy Train, War Pigs, and Iron Man skyrocketed overnight. Radio stations replayed old interviews of Ozzy laughing, saying things like, "I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to make noise." And in that noise, fans heard something timeless. Amiee's voice had reignited the world's love for her father. The family's silence breaks behind the scenes. The Osbourne family rallied around Amiee. Kelly reposted her statement with heart emojis. Jack Osbourne shared an old photo of the siblings watching their father perform, captioning it simply, "We got you, Dad." Even Sharon, who's known for her sharp tongue and iron will, stayed unusually quiet for 2 days before finally posting. Amiee said it best. "Enough said." That single post, 5 words long, racked up 500,000 likes. For the first time in a long while, the entire Osbourne family stood publicly united, not around fame or business or reality TV, but around love and legacy. Fans remember why. Ozzy mattered across comment sections. One theme kept repeating, Ozzy never pretended to be a genius. He was real. That was the difference. Where Waters dissected art with intellect, Ozzy embodied it with emotion. He didn't write manifestos. He screamed truth. He didn't chase theory. He chased connection. For many fans, that's what made the Waters comments so cruel. Because to insult Ozzy wasn't just to attack a musician, it was to mock the millions who had found themselves in his chaos. A 45-year-old fan wrote under Amiee's post, "Ozzy's music saved my life after my brother's death. He screamed for people like us, people drowning quietly. You can't measure that in legacy points." It was stories like that, thousands of them, that turned Amiee's words into a movement. The echo of legacy. By the end of the week, Waters' PR team had gone silent. Meanwhile, the Osbourne camp had stayed loud, not in anger, but in love. Fans began sharing black and white edits of Ozzy, overlaying Amiee's quote, "My father will be remembered long after Roger Waters is forgotten." And perhaps that's what made this moment so unforgettable, because it wasn't about ego anymore. It was about immortality, the kind only music can grant. In the halls of heavy metal, names fade. Bands split, fame burns out, but Ozzy's name, the voice that launched a genre, remains carved in the sound itself. Amie's fire only reminded the world of what it was in danger of forgetting, that Ozzy Osbourne wasn't just a man. He was a movement, and no insult, no bitterness, no passing remark from another aging rock star could rewrite that truth. The screen fades to black. The echo of a crowd rises, thousands chanting a single word that has defined generations: Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy! And somewhere, in the quiet of his home, the Prince of Darkness smiles, because even in silence, his voice is still the loudest. The story didn't end with Amie's explosive post. If anything, it was only the beginning of a storm that would echo through every corner of the rock world. Within hours, her words, raw, unfiltered, and trembling with both anger and love, had become the heartbeat of a viral movement. Respect Ozzy began trending worldwide, and with it came a wave of emotion no one could have predicted. For decades, Ozzy Osbourne had been the embodiment of rebellion, a figure larger than life, whose music gave voice to the broken, the misunderstood, the outcasts who found comfort in his chaos. But in that moment, his legacy wasn't defended by record sales or awards. It was defended by his daughter, standing tall in a digital arena filled with noise, venom, and memory. Amiee hadn't planned to speak. Friends close to her said she'd kept silent after her father's passing, not because she didn't care, but because she believed grief should be private. But Roger Waters' words hit differently. It wasn't just an insult to her father's name. It was a challenge to everything the Osbourne family had endured, survived, and built. And so when she spoke, she did it not as a celebrity, not as the daughter of the Prince of Darkness, but as a daughter protecting her father's soul. The next morning, her phone wouldn't stop ringing. Producers, journalists, and talk show hosts all wanted to hear more. But Amiee refused every request. "I've said what I needed to say," she told one outlet through a family representative. "This isn't about me. This is about the truth." Still, the world was listening, and not everyone was silent. The industry reacts within days. Amie's statement had inspired some of the biggest names in rock to come forward in support of Ozzy's legacy. Slash reposted her message with a simple caption: "Respect where it's due." Lars Ulrich of Metallica shared an emotional tribute, writing, "Without Ozzy, none of us would have had the stage we stand on today." Even former critics found themselves revisiting their words, rewatching interviews and realizing maybe, just maybe, the man they'd once misunderstood had been far more than his wild image ever showed. Meanwhile, Roger Waters, the man at the center of it all, faced mounting backlash. Fans flooded his social media pages with comments demanding an apology. Concert promoters were reportedly reconsidering partnerships, and industry insiders whispered that his remarks had finally crossed a line. But Amiee didn't care about any of that. Her battle wasn't for public opinion. It was for peace, for the peace her father had fought for all his life. Late one night, she posted one final message. A quiet one. A photo of her and Ozzy from years ago. She's maybe 8 years old, sitting on her father's lap, both smiling into the camera. No makeup, no spotlight, no stage, just family. The caption read, "He gave the world everything. All I'll ever give him is my voice when he can't speak for himself." And that was it. No hashtags, no fury, just love. The legacy she fought for. The dust settled, one truth became impossible to ignore. Ozzy Osbourne's impact was unshakable. His music wasn't just heavy metal, it was a movement of survival. Every scream, every lyric, every chaotic performance was a declaration that even the broken could create something eternal. Amie's defense had reignited that memory in millions. Fan clubs organized candlelight vigils in Birmingham and Los Angeles, cities that had witnessed both the rise and the farewell of the legend. In London, murals of Ozzy began appearing again, painted by fans who'd grown up on his music, now determined to preserve his legacy for generations. The story of Amiee versus Roger had transcended celebrity drama. It had become a reminder of what true legacy looks like. Not one built on ego, but on endurance. Even media outlets that had once sensationalized Ozzy's darkest moments began revisiting his journey with newfound respect. Rolling Stone ran a feature titled "The Immortal Noise of Ozzy Osbourne." The Guardian called Amie's response a daughter's purest act of love. But for Amiee, the praise didn't matter. What mattered was that her father's memory was safe. A private goodbye. A few weeks later, Amiee was seen attending a quiet memorial event with her family. It wasn't a public concert or a media spectacle. It was just them. Candles flickering, guitars resting against chairs, and one of Ozzy's old songs playing in the background, Dreamer. Kelly sat beside her, eyes glistening. Sharon held a locket close to her heart. And for the first time in months, Amiee smiled. After the ceremony, a fan approached her gently, handing over an old Black Sabbath vinyl, cracked and faded. "He changed my life," the man said softly. "And now you've reminded me why." Amiee took the record, ran her fingers over the worn cover, and nodded. That's what he would have wanted. There was something timeless about that moment. A daughter realizing that her father's story didn't end with his death. It lived on in every lyric, every memory, and every person who had ever felt seen because of his music. Roger Waters responds, and then, just when the noise began to fade, Roger Waters finally broke his silence. In an interview with The Independent, he called the situation overblown, claiming his comments were taken out of context. He added that he respected Ozzy's career, but maintained that musical innovation should never be confused with shock value. The response didn't go over well. Fans saw it as damage control, an attempt to soften a wound that couldn't be unmade. But Amiee didn't respond. She didn't need to. Her silence this time was louder than any words. Behind the scenes, people close to her say she found solace in focusing on her father's foundation, an initiative supporting young musicians who can't afford instruments or studio time. "Dad always believed music should be for everyone," Amiee said in a rare interview months later. "That's how I'll keep him alive, through sound, not noise." It was clear. The battle was over, but the mission had just begun. The weight of love, in the weeks that followed, the internet moved on, as it always does. But for Amiee, something had changed. She began revisiting old footage, unseen clips from home videos, Ozzy singing lullabies to his kids, goofing around backstage, laughing so hard he could barely breathe. "This is the man they didn't see," she whispered in one clip. "The man behind the madness." And perhaps that's what her father's greatest lesson had been, that the world might only remember the stage persona, the headlines, the chaos, but family remembers the heartbeat beneath it. Amiee later shared one of her father's old quotes, scribbled in a journal. "If I've made one person feel less alone with my music, I've done my job." That line became her mantra, and for millions watching from around the world, that message hit deeper than any controversy ever could. The final moment months later, during a tribute concert in Birmingham, something unforgettable happened. The lights dimmed. A massive screen displayed images of Ozzy through the decades, from the wild early days to the final tours, his smile never fading. Amiee stood backstage, nervous but ready. She wasn't there to perform, but to introduce the show. When the crowd quieted, she stepped into the spotlight, clutching the microphone. Her voice trembled, but her words were clear. "My dad didn't want to be perfect. He just wanted to be real. And that's why you all loved him. Because he never hid the madness, the fear, or the love. He gave you all of himself. And in return, you gave him forever." The audience erupted. Thousands of voices chanting, "Ozzy! Ozzy! Ozzy!" echoing through the night like a hymn for a fallen king. Tears filled Amie's eyes. She looked up toward the sky, whispering a final goodbye only she could hear. "You did it. Dad, you really did it." The music began. Crazy Train, the anthem that started it all. And for a moment, it felt as though the world stood still. Epilogue. Beyond the noise, in the years to come, documentaries, biographies, and retrospectives would all revisit Ozzy Osbourne's impact. They'd analyze his artistry, his madness, his genius. But the truest reflection of his legacy would always be this: a daughter's fierce love, born not from fame, but from memory. Amiee Osbourne had proven that even in a world of headlines and hate, family could still cut through the noise. That love, when pure, could outshine bitterness. And that a legacy like Ozzy's didn't need defending. It just needed remembering, because legends don't die when the music stops. They live on every time a song begins, And as the final chords of Dreamer played out over that Birmingham crowd, Amiee smiled through her tears. Her father may have left the stage, but his echo was eternal. If this story moved you, share it with every Ozzy fan you know. Let's keep the legend alive, and not just in the music, but in the love that built it. Subscribe for more real stories behind rock's greatest hearts, because some legacies never fade.